Good day traders, welcome to the weekly market fix where we bring you price predictions and chart analyses of all your favorite crypto commodity indices and forex instruments. This week we are highlighting a bullish trend continuation on gold along with an excellent breakout opportunity on the NASDAQ, and that is among other excellent setups that we will be covering. If you like our weekly market fix, please remember to support our channel by subscribing. Then here we have a quick look at our disclaimer before we jump right in. We are starting by looking at the NASDAQ 100. We saw on Friday, or actually rather on Thursday, that we had a false breakout from that consolidation range with a break to the downside, and then we found some support from the monthly pivot. The close on Friday has been right at the top of the previous range. So considering it being a fake breakout, it is possible that we will see another breakout to the upside, reaching for that bullish target at our monthly R1, which is at 14,100. Although another false break to the upside would be aggressive, and then potentially see a breakout to the downside towards our weekly S3, which coincides with this diagonal support at about 13,200. Looking at the Dow, we can see the Dow is trying to break into new highs, currently struggling with that yearly R1 pivot. If that pivot can break and if we can get back to the monthly R1, it would be probably a good idea to start looking for some price action behavior either to the up or downside, as a break to the upside above the monthly R1 would then see the price reach for that upper diagonal resistance, which coincides with our monthly R2, that is at 36,100. A rejection of that level could see price move back into the support area, which is from provided by that diagonal, and also the weekly S1 at 34,450. A break below that would see a deeper correction towards support from the monthly S1 at 33,475. Looking now at the DAX. DAX currently at upper diagonal support, where we see a meet up of various pivot levels. Firstly, that yearly R1 pivot level, 15,700, very strong resistance. We also have the monthly R1 pivot level above that at 15,750. So for this week, important level 15,750. Rejection from that level will see a correction towards that support from the weekly S1 at 15,500. A break below that would see perhaps a deeper test of the area somewhere between, let's see, our monthly S1 at 14,960 to about 15,170. Moving on now to gold. Gold has seen the correction that we've been waiting for towards that monthly pivot level at 1,860. It has now resumed, or what appears to be a resumption of that bullish trend. The first level that needs to be respected, of course, is the new weekly pivot at 1,888. And then if we can get back above that 1,905 level, which is the important resistance level here, we can see or expect rather a new bullish move towards the target at 1,956, which is our monthly R1 pivot. In the event of a break below that monthly pivot level at 1,860, that could see perhaps a correction towards support from the weekly S2, also where we will see price finding some additional confluence of support from the daily 200 and 50 SMAs. Moving on to the cryptocurrencies, looking now at Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin has started playing out what might be one of the bearish scenarios that I pointed out in the video last week. And you can see that it's still struggling to get above that daily 200 SMA, having rejected it and not even being able to test it again. Of course, this level of the new weekly pivot at 36,500 would be very important this week, as any price action below that would see that move towards the yearly pivot that we've spoken about previously at 20,600 probably being realized, although there would be some interim support in this vicinity in the area of about 30,000. Looking at a possible bullish scenario, if we do break out from that daily 200 SMA and if we can get above the monthly pivot at 42,000, and that could potentially see a break of the yearly R2 pivot, which would of course act as some resistance. But if we do get about 46,000, then the move higher towards initially that maybe the daily 100 SMA, somewhere in the vicinity of, let's say, 52 to about 55,000 would be in play. Looking now at Ethereum, showing a slightly bearish view here in terms of the projected target. We can see we have this very large head and shoulders pattern looming with a break below 2080, seeing a potential breakdown towards initially that level near the monthly S2 at 410. But on the other hand, we do see price action respecting the daily 100 SMA currently. And I'd say as long as price action can stay at least above that neckline area of 2085, we do have a chance of a bullish recovery. But for that to happen, we need to break above our monthly pivot, which is at about 2,985 to, let's say, 3,000 as that psychological level. So it's the 3,000 psychological level, very important. A break above that would invalidate this head and shoulders, and I could see an initial bullish target being realized from our monthly R1 pivot at 4,150. Having a look now at our Forex, looking at the USDJPY, we have this symmetrical triangle consolidation with what might also be a bearish wedge, or actually that could even be a bear flag, depending on how you look at it. We do have very strong rejection from this monthly R1 pivot at 110. So that is a very strong rejection, although there is still support, as you can see, from this diagonal support level. So support for this week at 109, also coinciding with the weekly S1 pivot level. A break below that, of course, would be bearish and see most likely a test of the daily 100 SMA, possibly in the vicinity of the weekly S3 pivot at 108. But if we can break back above the high from last week and take out that upper diagonal resistance level, breaking through the monthly R1 pivot, I suspect we can see a rally towards the target levels of 111.23, that's the monthly R2, and even perhaps in the coming 2 or so weeks to that monthly R3 at 112.24. Moving on now to the Australian dollar USD, we also see here that we do have some form of head and shoulders pattern going on. Even looking at the larger picture back to the beginning of the year, we have this very strange looking complex head and shoulders formation. If you consider that to be a shoulder and that to be the head and this to be an extended right shoulder, we have broken below the 50 and 100 daily SMAs. So that is quite concerning. So if price action do stay below this level, I suspect that we will initially see that test of the daily 200 SMA at 0.755. That is at our monthly S2. If price action can get back above the monthly pivot at 0.777, that could see a recovery above the right shoulder, potentially invalidating that last latter head and shoulders and seeing a target at 0.7855. That would again be resistance, not only from that diagonal but also from the monthly R1. A break above that would of course be very bullish, with a new bullish trend emerging and setting up targets from the monthly R2 at 0.78 and even eventually that monthly R3 at 0.807. Looking at the GBPUSD. GBPUSD currently still in consolidation. We do have this bullish channel in play with some diagonal support in this vicinity of the daily 50 SMAs, 1.402. We also see price currently trading on the monthly pivot, also the weekly S1 at the 1.407. Bullish price action from this level. You can see a test of those highs at the weekly R1, 1.424. A break above that will be considered a breakout, and we'll be looking for a retest of this upper diagonal somewhere in the vicinity of 1.435. That's the monthly R1, and of course that major diagonal, that major horizontal level at about 1.439. Moving on to EURUSD. The EURUSD also very interesting. We have what might be, and I'm not saying this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, but it might be setting up to resemble something similar. And of course, we can see for this pattern to be validated, we need a test of that pivot level at about 1.206. I think that's a yearly pivot level. And if we can find support from that level, break higher, of course back above that weekly and monthly pivot levels, and break the neckline, which is currently sitting at 1.224, that could set in motion a new bullish trajectory, and could realize targets perhaps as high currently as 1.238. You can see that I do have support also here at that major pivot and the daily 100 SMA at 1.203. So that is the area to watch for a potential reversal to the upside. Of course, even a break below that would be quite bearish, but let's see what price action does at that level. Concluding by looking at the US dollar to South African rand, you can see that we have had quite a bit of bearish price action, with the rand strengthening quite significantly against the US dollar, breaking below the 10-year diagonal support line, currently residing on the monthly S1 pivot at 1342. Continued bearish price action, perhaps test that level at 1370. That would be a very major level of horizontal support. And I do expect at least a pullback and correction towards that breakout area at about 1390. And from there, we'll see if we break back above that diagonal or whether we get rejected and expect a move lower. Well, that concludes our technical overview for the week. If there's anything specific you'd like to see, please send us an email or leave us a comment below. Until next time, this is John Jacobs for RMDTRADER. Remember, trade smart and trade successful.